Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're swapping lab coats for gardening gloves, maybe.
Yeah.
We're looking at gibberellic acid, GA3. Yeah, a powerful tool for speeding up plant propagation. We've got some really detailed notes here from a gardener trying to maximize yield from Vinca and Basil.
Right. The goal was pretty specific. Get those seedlings taller faster.
Exactly. So they could prune the tips sooner, get cuttings for propagation, and encourage, bushier growth on the main plant. All about efficiency.
And for you listening, the key thing we're pulling out here isn't just that GA3 works, but how precisely you need to use it. We're getting past guesswork.
Moving beyond just gut feelings on application.
Right. We want to distill the exact method, the timing, the dosage, all the adjustments needed to make this hormone work predictably for accelerated growth.
Okay, so let's start with the gardener's initial try. They knew GA3 could accelerate stem growth, so they just started using it.
Yeah, but the way they used it initially was the problem. The notes say they applied it only to the soil, around the roots.
Like feeding the plant.
Kind of, yeah. Like a nutrient soak. And the amount. Pure guesswork. No real measurement, just hoping for the best, I suppose.
Which predictably didn't quite give them that rapid vertical growth they wanted. Why was that approach, the soil application, basically wrong for this specific goal?
Well, GA3, for this function, making stems elongate quickly, sometimes called bolting, it needs to get to the stems and the growing tips directly. Soil application just doesn't get it to where it needs to act fast. The main uptake points for this effect are the leaves and stems themselves.
So the big correction, the first major takeaway is method. It has to be a foliage spray.
Absolutely. Dissolved properly and sprayed directly onto the leaves and stems. That's fundamental if you want that rapid elongation.
Okay, dissolved properly, that sounds like the next hurdle. If soil's out, the prep needs to be right.
Yeah.
How do you actually mix this stuff? The note seemed really insistent on a specific agent.
Yes, and this is probably where a lot of people might slip up. GA3 powder. It doesn't dissolve easily in just water, it clumps. So the essential step is mixing the GA3 powder with a bit of alcohol first.
Alcohol, like rubbing alcohol.
Ethanol or isopropyl alcohol, yeah. Just enough to dissolve the powder into a concentrated solution. Then you add that solution to your main batch of water for spraying.
Why the alcohol, though? What if you just use warm water or, shook it really hard?
You'd likely still get poor solubility, clumps, an uneven spray. Best case, it's inefficient. Worst case,
You could damage the plant.
exactly. You might get hot spots with too high a concentration where a clump lands. The alcohol just ensures it's evenly distributed in the water. It's the necessary solvent step.
Okay, got it. Alcohol first. Makes sense now. So once it's mixed right, what about timing? When do you actually start spraying the seedlings?
You need to wait just a bit. The plant needs to be sort of ready for it. The trigger, based on these notes, is seeing the first true leaves appear.
Not the very first little seed leaves, but the next set.
Correct. The first leaves that actually look like the plant's real leaves, that's your signal. And it's not just one spray.
Right. The note said multiple applications.
Yeah, repeat it 2 or 3 times. The frequency should be about every 10 to 14 days, so basically every 2 weeks for a few cycles.
Okay, so that covers the plant side of things. But what about the environment? I remember the notes warning about sunlight. That seemed important.
Critically important. GA3 is light sensitive, photosensitive.
Meaning sunlight breaks it down.
Actively degrades it, yeah. If you spray in the middle of a bright, sunny day, a good chunk of that GA3 could become ineffective before the plant even absorbs it properly through the leaves.
Wow, okay. So all that careful mixing is wasted.
Pretty much. So the practical rule is spray very early in the morning before the sun gets intense, or wait for a cloudy, overcast day.
You're basically giving the compound a window to get absorbed before the sun destroys it.
That's the idea. Shield it from direct sun just long enough.
Okay, so we have the method foliage spray, the mixing alcohol first, the timing first, true leaves every 2 weeks, avoiding sun. Now the big one, dosage. This seems like where the real optimization happens.
Absolutely. This is where you move from maybe it'll work to having a defined, measurable target. For this kind of accelerated growth, the research points to an optimal range.
And that range is
Typically between 50 parts per million ppm and 250 ppm.
50 to 250 ppm. Okay.
Staying in that range is key. It maximizes the growth signal without, shocking the plant with too much hormone.
Right. But ppm parts per million sounds very lab coat and goggles. How do you translate that for someone mixing this up at home, like grams and liters?
It's actually a pretty straightforward conversion, and it's vital for getting away from that initial guesswork. So 1 ppm, that's equivalent to 1 milligram of the GA3 powder dissolved in 1 liter of your solvent, the water mixture.
Okay, 1 ppm equals 1 milligram per liter. Simple enough.
Yeah.
So that optimal range, 50 to 250 ppm, that means you need to weigh out, let's see, 50 milligrams, which is tiny, 0.05 grams.
Right.
Up to 250 milligrams, so 0.25 grams. And dissolve that amount in 1 liter of water, after the alcohol step, of course.
Precisely. That's the level of accuracy we're talking about. Having a scale that can measure milligrams becomes pretty important if you want reliable results.
You can't just eyeball 0.05 grams.
Not really, no. But defining that range, 50 to 250 milligrams per liter, that gives the gardener, or, anyone trying this, a scientifically sound starting point. It moves it from random experimenting to targeted application.
And that's what delivers that reliable, rapid growth needed for the pruning and propagation.
Exactly.
So let's wrap this up. What's the big picture here for the listener? These notes really hammer home that using something powerful like GA3 isn't casual.
Not at all. It comes down to, 3 pillars of precision, really.
Okay.
First, the method. It has to be that foliage spray, and you have to use alcohol to dissolve it properly first. No shortcuts there.
Right. Pillar 1, method.
Second, the timing. Starting at the first true leaves, repeating every couple of weeks, and crucially, avoiding that bright sunlight during application.
Pillar 2, timing. Got it.
And third, the dosage. Nailing that 50 to 250 ppm range, which means careful measurement, milligrams per liter.
Pillar 3, dosage. Method, timing, dosage.
Get those 3 right, and you're maximizing your chances for that accelerated growth, getting those cuttings faster, just like the gardener wanted.
It really shows that just having the hormone isn't the key. It's the meticulous application.
Absolutely. Success hinges on these kind of seemingly small chemical and environmental details.
So a final thought then for you to chew on. We've seen that getting the best results here means, well, being pretty inconvenient sometimes, right?
Like having to spray only on cloudy days or dragging yourself out there at dawn.
Exactly. So knowing that maximum results demand this hyper-specific, often inconvenient timing, does that dedication to precision always have to win out over convenience? Even for, say, a small home gardening project, where do you draw the line?
That's a good question. How much precision is practical versus optimal? Something to think about.